Welcome to Crisis in Perception, where we examine the systems shaping our world, one book at a time. Today, we're looking at Venice, but maybe not the Venice you think you know. You know this image, right? This is the Venice we all have in our heads, a city of incredible art, beauty, and history, just floating on water. It's this picture of impossible elegance, a masterpiece kind of frozen in time. But if we really want to understand Venice, we have to look past that beautiful facade. We need to see it for what it truly was. A machine, a powerful floating engine designed for a very specific purpose. So let's start with the blueprint for this thing. Now, like any good engine, Venice started with a blueprint. And its design, well, that was dictated entirely by its unique and pretty precarious geography. See, the lagoon was this total double-edged sword. On one hand, you had rivers threatening to silt it up and turn into a swamp. You had the sea itself trying to erode the city's foundations. But on the other hand, those same waters were an incredible defensive barrier. They gave Venice control of key trade routes and a monopoly on salt, which was a huge source of its early wealth. This whole setup created a unique set of problems and incentives that shaped everything that came next. And the biggest incentive of all was just simple survival. I mean, think about it. In an age where wealth was land, Venice had basically none. So the sea wasn't just an option, it was their only path forward, forcing them to become a city of merchants and sailors. And that geography, that need to survive, created the engine's fuel, this relentless, all-consuming drive for maritime trade. This single drive would end up shaping Venetian society from the ground up, and it forged a whole new kind of ruling class. You can see this perfect causal chain here. The need to trade created a class of super daring merchants who made a fortune. This new money then turned around and systematically redesigned the government to protect their own commercial interests, creating a closed-off ruling class. And this system lasted for so long because, well, the incentives for the elite were perfectly aligned with how the state worked. So the absolutely crucial point here is that the state and the market, they weren't separate at all. They were fused into one single system. The government was run by its top traders for its top traders. Economic policy, foreign policy, they were just two sides of the very same coin. And this fusion of business and politics created an incredibly powerful flywheel. It's this set of feedback loops that made the Venetian engine so stable and so resilient for centuries. Okay, check this out. This is the core economic loop that powered the whole thing. The wealth from trade funded a massive state-owned shipyard, the arsenal, and a powerful navy. That navy then protected the sealings from pirates and rivals, which, you guessed it, allowed for even safer and more profitable trade. More profit meant more money to pour back into state power. It was a perfect self-reinforcing cycle. But the engine didn't just run on economics. It was also powered by a cultural feedback loop, all centered on ritual. You could almost think of this as the system's software. Take a ceremony like the marriage of the sea. This was way more than just a show. When the Doge, the leader of Venice, threw a gold ring into the Adriatic, it was a major political act. It was a form of soft power that basically declared Venice's total mastery over the source of its wealth and warned everybody else to back off. And the art itself was part of the machine, too. It was deployed to legitimize the rule of this merchant elite. Here you see the Doge placed directly at the foot of the cross, literally fusing the authority of the state with the authority of God. This stuff crafted a powerful public image of a republic that was divinely favored, stable, and just. For centuries, this engine of trade, war, and ritual completely dominated the Mediterranean. But what we see today, what all the tourists flock to see, is really just its ghost. We go and admire the churches, the palaces, the canals, but we don't see them as components of that integrated machine. We're seeing the beautiful shell, but we're missing the engine that built it. We kind of fragment the city in our minds. We separate the breathtaking art from the imperial wealth that paid for it and from the naval power that protected it. By isolating Venice's beauty from its real structural role as a center of trade and empire, we totally obscure the very system that created it in the first place. And this really brings us to the central crisis in perception here. By focusing only on the beautiful results, do we end up blinding ourselves to the complex and often pretty ruthless systems that produce them? And does that prevent us from understanding not just the past, but the systems that are shaping our own world right now? This project is free and publicly accessible. If you'd like to support the time, tools, and research behind Crisis in Perception, you can become a supporter on Patreon. For a longer audio-based analysis of this topic, see the deep dive linked in the description.
If you enjoy this kind of systems-level analysis, please like, subscribe, and comment with books or topics you'd like us to explore next.